Title: When my wife spotted me on the beach after 3 years of silence, her expression completely shattered when she saw who I was with. The sea breeze was sharp that evening, slicing through the air like a blade. I stood at the edge of the water, my hand resting on the shoulder of the woman beside me, the one who'd helped rebuild what my wife had burned to ashes. I wasn't looking for her, but fate has a cruel sense of humor. Because when my wife's voice trembled behind me, saying my name after 3 silent years, I didn't turn immediately. I wanted her to see first, to see who I had become, and more importantly, who I was with. 3 years ago, that same woman, my wife, the one now standing frozen on the sand, swore she'd love me in every lifetime. I used to believe her. God help me, I built my life around that promise. We met young. She was art, messy, brilliant, impulsive. I was logic, calculated, deliberate, patient. Together, we balanced, or at least I thought we did. We married after 5 years of building dreams on small paychecks and big promises. I worked late, she painted. I handled bills, she handled beauty. We were a perfect portrait of trust. Until trust turned out to be the easiest thing for her to destroy. It started small. Missed calls, late nights, a new perfume that wasn't mine. She'd smile when I asked, dismiss it with a laugh. "You're imagining things." I wanted to believe her, so I ignored the whispers. I ignored the friend who hesitated before telling me he'd seen her with someone else. I even ignored the moment she flinched when I touched her shoulder one night, as if I wasn't supposed to be there. But the truth doesn't stay buried. It took one forgotten tablet left on the kitchen counter, one notification that blinked just long enough for me to see his name, and then the messages, raw, detailed, intimate, each one carving into me like a blade. He was my colleague, the man who toasted our anniversary, who sat across from me in meetings pretending to be my ally. They weren't just having an affair, they were planning a future, and I was the obstacle to their happiness. I didn't confront her, not yet. Emotion makes people sloppy. I chose silence instead. Silence is sharper than rage. I started with my finances, quietly moved funds into a separate account she couldn't touch, re-registered my company under a holding name, changed passwords, rerouted mail. I hired a private investigator, not for confirmation, but for documentation. Every hotel visit, every late-night text, every photograph. I compiled a story of betrayal they couldn't talk their way out of. Then I waited. 2 months later, she served me divorce papers, like she was the victim. Her lawyer's letter claimed emotional neglect. I almost laughed. She thought I'd crumble. She didn't know she was already standing in a trap. I signed. No resistance. That unnerved her, because silence makes guilty people panic. 3 weeks later, her lover's company was investigated for financial fraud. It wasn't coincidence. I'd given the right people the right documents, the ones he thought he'd deleted from our shared server at work. He lost his position, his income, and eventually his reputation. My wife, no, ex-wife, was forced to sell her art studio to cover debts she never knew existed. Because the studio, it was registered under both our names. And I'd ensured her share of the sale went directly to settle the joint tax liabilities she didn't realize she'd signed off on. By the time she realized I'd orchestrated everything, I was gone. 3 years of silence, 3 years of rebuilding. Not revenge, or so I told myself, but revenge was the scaffolding that held me up while I learned to breathe again. And now, standing on that same beach where we once promised forever, fate decided she deserved a front row seat to my closure, because beside me stood Ava, my new wife, the woman who'd once been my ex-wife's closest friend. Before you judge, understand this: Ava wasn't part of my plan. She was collateral who became connection. We met by accident, or maybe destiny, a year after the divorce. She knew the details. She knew the lies. She had her own scars from the same betrayal. My ex had ruined more than just one life. We built something on the ruins, slow, honest, cautious. And tonight, when my ex-wife spotted us together, I saw it, that perfect, silent collapse. Her face drained of color, her lips parted, trembling between disbelief and guilt. Her hand covered her mouth like she could hide the truth she'd just been forced to see. She tried to speak, but words fail when the past finally answers back. I turned toward her fully then, calm, unflinching. Ava's hand slipped into mine, and I smiled. Not cruelly, just enough to let her know I remembered everything. I walked toward her slowly, the sand soft beneath my feet, the waves whispering between us. "You look surprised," I said quietly. Her eyes darted between me and Ava. You married her?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The silence said everything. Because this wasn't revenge anymore. It was revelation, the kind that hurts more than any vengeance ever could. Her lover was gone. Her money was gone. Her friends? They drifted when the truth surfaced. And now, even the one person she used to confide in stood beside the man she betrayed. I could see the storm inside her eyes. Regret. Real, raw, and heavy. It wasn't satisfaction I felt. It was something colder. Final. I turned away first, walked back to the shoreline. Ava followed, her hand steady in mine. Behind us, I heard a sob, faint, strangled by the sound of the waves. I didn't look back, not this time. She had chosen her path. I had simply finished the story she began. 3 years ago, I disappeared as the man she betrayed. Tonight, she met the man she created. And for the first time since she left me broken, I felt free. Sometimes, revenge isn't about destruction. It's about reconstruction. You don't burn their world down, you rebuild yours so high they can never reach it again.